Country file maintenance is used to create countries that are going to be used in the application or maintain countries that have already been set up initially when the application was installed. We can query now at this point and do a list of values to see various countries that we have already set up on the system. So we'll do a list of values, and we can select from our list of values Canada, for example. Execute query, and we've brought up the information for Canada. So we'll go through the Canadian setup here. Firstly, is the country code itself. The currency has already been defined in currency file maintenance GB0700. So it has to be an existing currency if you're going to be setting up another country in the screen. The next is the federal tax description. In Canada, that's the goods and services tax, GST. In United Kingdom, it would be VAT. United States, this field would be blank as there is no federal tax in the United States. Next field is the tax percentage field. We have tax percent 1, tax percent 2. In some countries there is two-tier tax system, so both of these fields would be entered. But if your country only has one federal tax percent, we recommend using tax percent field number 1. In the stock file maintenance IN0200, there are tax flags on that screen, and based upon the tax flag that you set, tax percent 1, tax percent 2, or non-taxable, when products are processed through the system and taxation has to take place on the various transactions. For example, if you're in the order entry module and you're printing your invoices for a particular product, it would retrieve the tax percent from here, in this example 7%, if on that particular stock record you have tax percent 1 as flagged for that particular product. We'll take a quick look at the stock file maintenance by fast tracking into it, IN0200. And if we just do an execute query, come down to the product flags, we can see the various tax rates here for the purchasing side. And if we had tax percent 1 clicked on here, when we're processing in the system, it would know to go to the country file and find out the tax rate. And in our example, which was for Canada, was 7%. Or if we had a tax percent 2 set up, it was use tax percent 2, or in this case, or non-taxable, and then it would not have to retrieve the tax percent from the country file maintenance. Next field is the non-taxable to cash discount field. This box is checked if tax is not charged on cash discounts for this country. This option is only available on the sales side, and purchasing side always charges tax regardless of any cash discounts. This is probably not a field that is a very commonly used field, but it is available. Next is the metric flag. This is to indicate whether or not the metric unit of measure is used for the country. This measurement will be used during the printing of shipping documents and other documentation in the software where measurement is required. The federation state name, that is in the case of the United States, would be state, Canada, province, or left blank if there are no federation within a country. This will federation state name will show up on various screens where you're required to enter the federation state. So you'll be prompted, for example, if you're running the software in Canada for a province, but if you're running it in the United States, you would see a state in there, so it's applicable to the appropriate country. Next is the mailing code. That is your postal code, zip code. If this is the United States, you would put the word zip in there, and then throughout the application in various places you will see zip code display on the screen where the zip code has to be entered. The next field is just for future use and is not required to be entered. Citizen identification name is used for the citizenship identifier for the country. Example here would be Social Security if you're in the United States. In Canada, it's a social insurance number, and we'll change that to social insurance number. We'll put it in short form. Identification validation. If you're using the software in Canada, you would check this box, and there will be an algorithm used to determine whether or not the social insurance number entered in the application, for example in the employee file maintenance, is a valid social insurance number. Oracle country is used simply if you're using Oracle financial software. This field would be mandatory, but otherwise it's not necessary. The language code is entered for a particular country. It would just be a listing of the various languages that may be used in a particular country. The city field is quite useful because when you're entering in data into the system where you are prompted for a city, for example, if you're setting up a vendor or a particular customer, you'll be able to do a list of values on the city, so that if you're entering something for Canada, for example, and you have a list of cities within Canada, it's quite simple then just to select some primary cities from your list of values there that have been set up here, and it's a lot easier for data entry, so you wouldn't have to always be keying in Toronto, for example. You would just go to your list of values, and the city would be on there, and you can select it right from the list of values. So this has been the tutorial on the country maintenance.